Hey, thanks for tuning into the Average Joe. Today's topic is, should I invest into Bitcoin? Over the past few weeks, I've seen a lot of questions about, hey, I have $1,000. Should I invest? Or should I invest in Bitcoin? Or what do you think about this type of coin? Or what do you think about that? As an investor, that is probably the worst set of questions you can ever ask. Never ask those questions. The reason is that usually means you haven't done your research. When you invest, that's a personal decision. You don't rely on someone else to give you advice. Because if you want to know what to do with that $1,000, I'll be more than happy to give you a Bitcoin wallet address and just deposit it into that. Because that's all you're really doing is throwing money into a black hole hoping something comes out. So don't ask those questions. Do your research. Go online, read the white papers, understand why the coins exist, understand what cryptocurrency is about, and why we have different types of coins. And it's okay to ask opinions, but don't ask it as direct investing advice. I invested and I didn't ask someone, should I do it? I made my own decision. I figured out what my risks are. I figured out a plan of how do I take my money and get it into crypto, where to diversify it into crypto, what to do if markets should turn, and how to get out when I wanted to. So you need a plan. If you don't have a plan about how to get in and how to get out, don't do it. So that's my first piece of advice to you. If you ever ask me, should I invest? I'm going to tell you no, because it usually means you don't know what you're doing. So with that said, let's talk about a couple things. You don't necessarily have to invest into cryptocurrency to get into cryptocurrency. And I'm going to show you a few alternatives here that might make more sense to the first time investor. So the nice part is that if you've done research about investing, read things like The Motley Fool or listened to Jim Cramer, you're going to hear certain things about when to invest and not to invest, or how to invest, or different types of strategies of investing. With cryptocurrency, you don't have to buy into crypto to invest into cryptocurrency. You can still do things on the open stock market that are tied to cryptocurrency and still make a return. And I'm going to show you a few of those in just a second. So the first time I invested into cryptocurrency, I didn't directly buy Bitcoin. I went a different way. I was curious to see if there were anything available out on the stock market that I could buy. So I had an IRA that is self-directed, therefore I can buy all sorts of different things with it. So I thought I'd move some of my lesser performing assets, like my investments into silver, into Bitcoin. And sure enough, there was one product that was available. It goes under the symbol GBTC. I'm going to bring it up here on screen. And I brought up the 1-year chart. And if you take a look at the trend lines of this, you'll see it's trading at a fraction of Bitcoin. Now, when I got into it, it was trading at 1/10 the value of Bitcoin. Right now, it's closer to trading at about 1/6 of Bitcoin. The nice part about this is it's a little less risky. You don't get as much return on it as you would with Bitcoin, but with Bitcoin price volatility, where we went from a high of almost $20,000 before Christmas down to $10,000, this buffers that. So it doesn't rise and fall as fast as Bitcoin does, but it is pegged to Bitcoin and does do a nice return. So that's one option for you. And the nice part about it is you can go to your bank, TD Bank, Bank of America, anywhere, and open up a trading account and trade for about $5. And it's nearly instantaneous. So you're using your US dollars, you're trading in a US market, you can set all the stop limits and everything you would, but not have to deal with the immature elements of trading inside GDAX or Coinbase or whatever the flavors are, because right now they're backlogged. And what I'm hearing is a lot of complaints about how fast it is to take transactions to process and to get fiat dollars into crypto to do trading. So you can kind of trade Bitcoin without even owning Bitcoin. And if it starts tanking, you push a button and it costs you $5 and you're out within a couple minutes. So that's probably a safer way to go if you're not investing into Bitcoin for the very first time but want to get a taste of what it is. Another strategy investing into cryptocurrencies without actually buying cryptocurrencies is something I've learned trading stocks and mutual funds. which is take a look at the industries and companies that are surrounding what you're interested in investing in, because if that core asset rises in value, odds are the supporting companies will rise in value as well. So with that said, I'm going to show you 3 stocks that are out there that have potential and that somehow are tied to Bitcoin and the growth of cryptocurrency. So the first one I'm going to show is Overstock.com. And take a look at the trend line on that. It's very similar to GBTC in terms of the curve. And if you look at Bitcoin and its growth, it has a similar trend as well. And why is that? Well, during November and December, Overstock.com was rising in stock price because it's one of the few places that you can actually take Bitcoin and buy real products with. And they are one of the few vendors that truly take Bitcoin, crypto, literally take your wallet and scan the QR code and buy something with it. And they're attributing that because they wanted to collect Bitcoin because they saw the value in Bitcoin and its rising value as well, and rolled the dice on it and have been successful. So if you invest in Overstock.com, and as long as Bitcoin stays stable, probably their stock will stay stable too. Another thing, if you're not working with Bitcoin, one of the things about cryptocurrencies, most cryptocurrencies require mining, which requires buying hardware. So originally mining was done with CPUs, then GPUs, and then moved over to ASICs. I'm not aware of any companies that produce ASIC equipment that are being publicly traded, but the main supplier of GPUs is publicly traded, and that's NVIDIA. And if you take a look at the NVIDIA stock, it's been growing steadily this past year. And part of it is that they're producing video cards and supply and demand, just like with the ASIC miners, where the ASICs are being sold for 2 to 3 times the value from the manufacturer. We're running into the same thing with GPUs. So it's a supply and demand issue, and as such, NVIDIA can charge more for the cards. They have higher sales orders, higher demand, and they're growing as well. And they're pretty stable as well. So if you take a look at the chart, they're growing, and it's being attributed to the demand for GPUs to do mining for things like Monero, Litecoin, Ether. All the other altcoins require some form of mining, and generally can be done on the GPU basis. So right off the bat, you've got 3 stock options that are directly tied in one way or form of producing the coin, utilizing the coin, or trending by being pegged to the marketing of the coin. And the last stock that I'm going to show you isn't directly tied to Bitcoin, but I have some faith in it, and I'll tell you why that is in a second. Square, payment processing company. It was announced right around Thanksgiving that they are experimenting with using their platform to accept Bitcoin payments. In general, I thought this might be a good stock to work with because of the fact that if you've ever gone to craft fairs lately, everyone can take Visa and MasterCard, and just about everyone's using Square now. So it's really interesting that the small businessman, the person who's the hobbyist or whatever, who has goods to sell that really aren't running full retail stores, has a credit card processor that they can work with. And if they take Bitcoin, that's going to open up adoption and create more of a volume in terms of transactions, and therefore might give some opportunity for Square to improve their bottom line and more adoption. So with that, I'm going to round this off and say here are 4 options for you to invest into Bitcoin without actually investing into Bitcoin, and using your US dollars to buy in and get your money in and out and move it around a lot faster and a lot easier than trying to play around on the currency exchanges related to cryptocurrency. So hopefully you found this video useful, give you some different ideas. Again, my disclaimer here is I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not a stockbroker, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not an accountant. Do not take any of this as gospel. Once again, do your own research. Research. Come up with your own plan and determine what risk that you're willing to tolerate and how much money you're willing to lose. So if you're investing, go with the idea that that money goes out and never comes back. And I'll leave you with this piece of advice. A fool and his money, we're lucky to get together to start with. Keep that in mind. So have a good time. Hope you enjoy the video. Remember to hit the subscribe button, and I'll put out more content as soon as I can. Thanks.